Okay, we're recording. Awesome. We are back. We're live. We're going now. We're ready to go.
We're live-ish.
We're live-ish. Yeah, we're live-ish. Hi, everybody. Sorry if you could not get onto this call. I apologize. It was supposed to be a Facebook Live, and we had some interesting moments. We couldn't get it to go live. So Morgan and I are chatting here. Hopefully some of you guys jump on, and if not, we'll post the recording. So I wanted Morgan to talk about the new moon. She has her own yoga studio in Guelph, and she's one of my leaders here with doTERRA. And so she is the perfect person to explain moons and oils and all of that stuff. So Morgan, take it away and share your knowledge with us, please.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Julie, for having me live. So basically, I'm just going to dive into a little bit about what is a new moon versus a full moon. I know a lot of people are much more familiar with a full moon and usually tend to feel that energy a lot more. It's much more evident than a new moon. So a new moon usually has a more subtle energy about it, so people are usually less affected by the new moon. But then, of course, there's certain people that are still very much affected by it. And that comes with every cycle, right? There's always going to be certain people that are more affected by each new moon or full moon. And some people, that reason is just because they're a little bit more aware, their intuition's a little bit more heightened, depending on your star sign. Just a lot of different factors can play into that. If you're an empath or you're a little bit more sensitive, you're going to feel that energy a lot more than kind of the average. So basically with a new moon, it's really important to kind of set yourself up for that new cycle coming in. So a new moon comes every about approximately 28 days. So that's one thing to remember. So it's every 28 days you're going to hit that new cycle. So basically this new moon is tonight, and it is in Scorpio, which is very interesting. So people that are going to be more affected by this new moon are Aquarius, Taurus, Scorpios, of course, and even Leo. So if you're one of those star signs, then you will actually probably feel this shift a little bit more than others. So when you're coming into a new moon, there's a bunch of things that you really want to keep in mind. So new moon is all about new intentions. So we can't actually see the moon from the earth on a night like tonight. So we can't even see the moon. So there's so much about new beginnings and a kind of a fresh start that comes along with that new moon. So we're going into a new cycle. So what you want to do, especially with this time of the month, is really setting new intentions, setting new goals for yourself, creating a mantra that you can kind of repeat to yourself throughout the month or the next 28 days. So you can kind of really take each new moon as like a new opportunity. And there's new kind of energy to work with, which is really exciting. So if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, or even if you're not, you can kind of take that and kind of reset yourself, which is really exciting. So it's a huge opportunity. Every new moon is like a big opportunity for each and every one of us. But it can also throw us out of whack depending on the energy. So I'm going to kind of go into what this Scorpio new moon means and kind of dive a little bit more into what you might see if you are affected by it. So the Scorpio energy of this new moon, you're going to see a lot of transformations, possibly being heightened sensitivity. So if you're feeling a little bit more sensitive the last couple days, this could be that Scorpio energy, definitely. A lot of deep emotions coming up right now, possibly as well, kind of deep-rooted things that maybe you haven't thought about for a while coming to the surface. So the nodes of the moon they have shifted into Cancer and Capricorn, which means it really means that we need to kind of focus on finding more balance, which is usually why people tend to feel a little bit more frazzled right now, or like I said, sensitive, things like that. Scorpios are very passionate people, very determined. They are your best friend or your worst enemy. I love Scorpios, but it's funny because depending on what star sign you are, it's kind of one of those things where you either mesh with them or you don't. But they're very loyal as well. That's one thing people don't realize about Scorpios. They're very loyal, very passionate. So you can kind of harness that energy as well. But it also means that those things can be very much heightened right now. So this could be a positive thing or a negative thing. So with each new moon, it can be one or the other, right? The energy that you get from it can be positive or negative, but it's really all about your way, the way that you deal with it. So being aware of it is so important because those energies are there, but it's really a matter of how you take them on. So for instance, because Scorpios are so passionate and determined and loyal and things like that, those are the really positive sides of a Scorpio. So you can take that and kind of, set really good goals for yourself, get determined, kind of buckle down and really kind of go for what you're striving for. But then if you're not aware of that energy and you're not kind of taking care of yourself and being mindful of that, that's when you can start to feel that kind of negative side of Scorpio, which can possibly be more like the jealousy side, competitive side, throwing you a little bit more out of whack, really emotional. So feeling not stable at all, and that can be where that frazzled feeling comes in. And so if you are kind of working on something in your business or in life or with your kids or whatever it may be, that's where that energy can kind of throw you out of whack a little bit. So that's where it's really important to kind of set some kind of goals for yourself over this new moon cycle. So basically what that means for me, every time I come into a new moon or a full moon, I have a bunch of different rituals that I do for myself. And self-care is like extremely important at this time. So self-care includes setting intentions for yourself, creating goals, make that positive mantra that you can kind of repeat to yourself every day to kind of keep you on track. Taking time for yourself a little bit more, having those baths, go for a nice walk, all of the things that you do for your self-care. Everyone's self-care is a little bit different, right? So really, really making sure you're getting into self-care. And then of course, we dive into the oils that connect with the new moon, which is really exciting because the oils are so, so important when it comes to that new moon or full moon energy. And they're so natural, right? And so they're really kind of bringing us back down, kind of grounding us. So we have for Scorpio energy, the essential oil that Scorpio kind of needs is patchouli. I can't see my camera here. I'm so bad at this. There we go. So patchouli oil is kind of the oil for Scorpio because that, we have that passionate energy with Scorpio and we have that intenseness. And sometimes a little bit more of that kind of harshness can be there as well. So patchouli is really meant to kind of help soften the heart. And this helps calm a Scorpio as well, bringing in that really calm energy and really focusing on kind of just bringing us back down a little bit. And that's where that, frazzledness comes in, right? So we're just kind of trying to bring us back down, calm the mind, calm the body, soften the heart. That patchouli oil will really help with the Scorpio energy to kind of help let go and release too, because you could tend to be holding on to a lot right now. Like I was talking about those kind of deep rooted emotions. And then another one that's sorry, go ahead.
I just want to interrupt you. It's funny that you say that, Morgan, because this week, the last 2 days, I have literally, so I'm not a Scorpio. I'm a Gemini,
right?
But I have forgotten everything in the last 2 days, like legit everything. Like I forgot Emmett's coat for daycare yesterday. I forgot Grace's permission form for like rock climbing thing. And today my mom jokingly said, and then I almost walked out of my mom's house today without my phone, without Emmett's water bottle, and without my coat. Like I almost literally forgot everything there. And she jokingly said, haha, there's an oil for that, Julie, don't you know? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And you know what I thought of right away was Intune.
Oh, interesting.
And Intune has patchouli in it.
Yes, that's
So
hilarious. So
it's
you have
not,
a very good intuition.
but it's not very common that I don't like patchouli. It's so floral to
Mhm.
me. So it's not something that I typically turn to, but when I got thinking about, oh gosh, I should be using some Intune, it's
Yeah.
just interesting that it's got that patchouli in it.
Well, and it's funny too you say that because usually they say the oils that we don't like are the ones we need. And that I've heard so many times. And
Yeah.
especially right now, if you're feeling that kind of energy of that frazzleness or that scatterbrain,
Yeah.
um, and your body, your intuition just was like in tune. You need patchouli or, that kind of focus blend. So your
Yeah.
intuition just told you that, right? And that's the thing is being aware this time of the cycle with this new moon, always just being aware of like what your body is telling you. Because a lot of people don't take the time to listen, right? And
Yeah.
that's so important. And then the next oil I will definitely recommend during this time is the wild orange.
My
And
favorite.
I love wild orange. And the reason I say this is because I talked about how we can definitely come to the negative side and there's also a positive side. And so for me, wild orange is so uplifting and it's a positive oil, any of the citruses really. But this one kind of helps refocus your mind to that kind of positive side of things. And so really trying to just really kind of uplift yourself during this time, right? So when you're feeling that negative energy come in, just like try and snap yourself out of it and go right back to that positive mindset. And the wild orange, I promise you will do that. I just think I'm on like a beach somewhere as soon as I put this on. So definitely the wild orange. And then of course, the last one I'm going to talk about, and I literally, I think I mentioned earlier, yeah, because the nodes of the moon are shifting into Cancer and Capricorn, throwing off our our balance and us needing to find balance. Obviously, that brings me to our balance oil. And this one is so good because we really need that grounding oil during this time when we're feeling not quite ourselves. When there's a energy of a different star sign too that's not yours coming into your world, it's not normal for you, right? It's not those feelings or emotions you're used to. So we need to reground ourselves. So that balance oil is amazing for that because it has, that kind of like pine woodsy smell, but very soft and calming as well. And then the two of them together, if you put balance and wild orange together, my fave. I love those two. And then you get kind of even more balance brought into it where you're getting that grounding sensation, but also that uplifting at the same time. And then, I know not everyone's a fan of patchouli, but if you can kind of use that in a bath at night or in the shower or in your diffuser a little bit, that would be an amazing oil to use for yourself during this time. And I know a lot of people are really curious about the full moon as well, which tonight we're just focusing on the new moon because that's what's going on right now. But we will be doing another one about the full moon that will be coming up as well. So I
Yes,
think
we
that's
will
kind of
have.
all I had.
I think we're going to have Morgan back every month, maybe, and talk
Yeah,
about at least for a few months, and
hopefully with a live.
hopefully with a live. We will figure it out. It'll get done. It'll
Yeah.
get done. And really, I want her back for the full moon and maybe a few days before the full moon because, like, do the effects do things start happening? Like, do we start to feel the effects as it prepares for the new moon and the full moon? Like, how does that? And then how long? Like, how long before? How long after? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know you said the new
Good
moon is like
question.
28 days. Like, but the
Yeah. So
intensity of the feelings. How do we?
yeah. So even right now, so the intensity of the new moon and the full moon usually lasts 3 days leading up and 3 days after, especially around a full moon. It's even
Okay.
stronger. So it's
Okay.
usually about 3 days before, 3 days after, it's the strongest. And
Okay.
then during this 28-day cycle is when you're setting that new intention, you're bringing in that new energy, new goals, things like that. And then as we approach the full moon, that's when we start our releasing process. So
Okay.
right now we're bringing in the new, and then as we come up to the full moon, we're letting go and we're releasing. So
Awesome.
another ritual you can do for yourself right now is take a piece of paper and write down, 3 to 5 positive intentions that you have for yourself during this next 28 days. And whether that's with family, friends, kids, or work, whatever it may be, just write down those intentions you have, remind yourself of those. And then when we come to the full moon, you can release all of that. You can let go of anything that's not, positively serving you anymore. It's an opportunity to let go. So that's what's kind of exciting about the cycles, is when you can connect with them, when you start to connect with those cycles, your body just kind of naturally starts to invite positive and then release negative in that same kind of cycle every month, which is really cool. And it's so much better for our bodies, our minds, to kind of keep that cycle going. Because when we hold everything in and we're not aware of what's going on, and you just kind of retain everything in your body, all your emotions, your pain, your frustrations, whatever that is, it's really hard to reset that when you need to, right? When you've just built it up so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I kind of rambled there at the end, but
it's good.
That answers your question.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm sure other people will have questions too. So if you're watching this recorded, please comment below. Morgan will jump on the page, and hopefully we'll do more lives. We'll figure it out, and she'll answer your questions for you. And yeah, thank you so much, Morgan, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Awesome.
We'll talk soon.
See you later, Julie.
Bye.
Yeah, have a good one. Bye.